Massachusetts Minutemen. Now let's meet the starting lineup. For Kentucky, at forward, a 6'4" junior from Louisville, Kentucky, number 23, Derek Anderson. For Massachusetts, at forward, a 6'7" senior from Bronx, New York, number 3, Dana Dingle. For Kentucky, at forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, number 24, Antoine Walker. For Massachusetts at forward, a 6'6" senior from Baltimore, Maryland, number 4, Donta Bryant. For Kentucky at center, a 6'10" senior from Evansville, Indiana, number 40, Walter McCarty. For Massachusetts at center, a 6'11" junior from Hartford, Connecticut, number 21, Marcus Camby. For Kentucky at guard, a 6'1" senior from Brownsville, Tennessee, number 00, Tony Delk. For Massachusetts at guard, a 6'2" junior from Toa Alta, Puerto Rico, number 12, Edgar Padilla. For Kentucky at guard, a 6'2" junior from Lebanon, Kentucky, number 25, Anthony Epps. For Massachusetts at guard, a 6'3" junior from Boston, Massachusetts, number 24, Carmelo Travieso. And the coaches for Kentucky in his 7th season, Rick Pitino. For Massachusetts in his 8th season, John Calipari.
All right, Billy Packer, it's time to bring up the Packer points for game 2.
Well, Jim, these are so important, the guard combination. When you play Kentucky, you've got to have great guards to go against them, and without question, UMass does. Padilla and Travieso, 2 of the best in the country. The long blue line, we're talking about that Kentucky bench. They come in to this semifinal championship with 104 points off the bench. Tremendous, best in the country. Perimeter power, Kentucky is shooting 47%, not from inside, from three-point range. Terrific outside shooting team. The double down factor. So tough to double down against Marcus Camby because he's such a versatile performer. But Kentucky will try to do it anytime he touches the ball with his back to the basket.
It's been 17 weeks and 65 combined games since these two met at the end of November. Carmelo Travieso said to this man, Tony Delk of Kentucky, as the two teams exited the floor, "We'll see you guys again down the road." That's what he said to Tony Delk. And here they are, playing for the right to meet Syracuse Monday night for the national championship. Ed Hightower, Tom Rucker, Michael Kitts, the officials.
Jim, a lot's changed from that game, but one thing that hasn't changed, Kentucky scored 32 points off the bench that night. UMass 0.
But
UMass still came out with a victory.
UMass won the game by 10.
Had big leads in that ball game, but Kentucky battled back with outstanding outside shooting power. But in my estimation, Kentucky has done more to change the way it plays since that game than has UMass, and that may balance things off a little bit.
Controls it, and UMass will set up first.
And it is McCarty on Camby down inside to get a lot of help from Walker.
Padilla, way too strong, but off Kentucky.
Underrated backcourt, underrated forwards. Donta Bright, Dana Dingle. You don't hardly ever hear about them on this ball club, but they get it done. A lot of experience at that position.
Hot topic this week has been the UMass guards. Camby shot partially deflected.
And no double down. McCarty was with him all by himself.
Walker looked like he'd go end to end. McCarty three-pointer. And Bright pulls down the board.
Both teams a little nervous, Jim. You sense that?
I am watching. watching them. With all the build-up, I'm sure they are too.
It had to affect them a little bit. It'll take them a while. You know, you don't see a lot of kids with sweats out there. You notice it? They're all very dry, kind of like a big boxing match in which the heavyweight champ comes out without a sweat. Very surprising.
You don't like that?
No, I don't. I think normally teams should be sweating by now.
Camby trying to give it right back.
Good weak side help by Anderson.
Walker's pass though, thrown away, turned over to the Minutemen.
Matter of fact, Jim, I don't know if I've ever seen that in a big ball game before. You don't see one guy out there. Looks like they all just came out of the shower and toweled off.
All right, Weeks comes in. Tyrone Weeks for Camby.
Just trying to slow things down. John Calipari wants to get a look to see how Kentucky's playing. Let Camby get a quick breath. Weeks is going to go in there to bang for a while.
First points of the game. Dingle.
Said those forwards are very underrated. You're talking about experienced players there. They've won a lot of basketball games. Travieso, he's playing against Delk and doing a little bit too much bodying with him there. He's got to give him room to maneuver. Tony loves to rub off those screens. Straight man-to-man here. Weeks on Walker, and he is really pounding him with his upper body.
That foul was called on Donta Bright. So Kentucky looking for its first points. Almost 2 minutes into the game. Tony Delk. Who else? Rattles out McCarty's follow. Way too strong. And Bright with the board.
You can see Mass trying to force the ball up quickly and then get the swing.
Weeks.
Nothing there. Wise decision. Get it back out. Bright's got a lot of power on Anderson, Jim.
Weeks hustling. Hightower joins him on the floor. Backed him in.
Weeks has a lot of problems with his foot. See Camby coming right back into the ball game. Little subtle move by John Calipari trying to get his star settled down. Look, he tells Weeks, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. Gives him a little slap into the hands.
Camby comes back in, settles him down, like you say, and now they double him up this time.
Camby talked to me yesterday, Marcus did, and said, when it comes into me and they double, I'm going to dish it out in a hurry. Won't get caught in what happened to Tim Duncan last week.
Delk smartly knocked the ball off of Travieso, so it's Kentucky ball as McCarty almost threw it away for a second time.
Well, Jim, is it the SEC fumbleitis today? I mean, some ill-advised passes, and there's the first thing it touched out of bounds was the Massachusetts player, so a good call.
Just 2-0 UMass.
Now it's Camby on Walker.
2:40 into the game. And Delk. Anderson. Here's a foul on Camby.
Just reached his hand up from underneath. Now, normally you don't get called for a foul like that when you come up underneath the ball. It's when you chop down on the top that it costs you. John Calipari making some changes quickly here.
And they bring Weeks back in. Wright's out. Epps for the first 2 of the game for Kentucky.
Great out-of-bounds play, thrown right over the top. Here's the pressure. You've got to score to put the full court pressure on. First time Kentucky really gets an opportunity to do it.
That ball deflected. Kentucky steals it. Behind the back, Delk, and one.
Travieso trying to throw the ball over Walker. Now, Jim, we showed it on the coach's edge why this press is so effective. You run into a double team, as we'll see right here, but the double team is a man who's 6'8", not a backcourt 6'2" performer. And Delk, who can get up in the air, really makes it difficult to throw over the top. There you can see it. Delk's long arms. Beautiful passing by Walker, one of the best interior passing big men in the country. And here's the press.
Travieso called for the foul and a 5-2 Kentucky lead. This time they break it.
Camby has not had an opportunity really to operate offensively. This Kentucky defense really out tough on the ball.
Here's Camby inside, and he might get it back with a three-point play of his own.
Jim, that's what I said that makes him so tough to double down against, because he's a maneuverable center. He doesn't post up and keep his feet in the same place. Now watch how much movement. There's a solid back screen. Camby's on the move, so by the time he touches the ball, it's too late for the defense to get over there to double him. You can see Walker, who would normally be doubling, he was occupied with Weeks. Nice job by Marcus Camby, the National Player of the Year.
So McCarty with the foul goes to the bench and is replaced by Mark Pope. Camby ties it at 5.
Epps, who's having a sensational tournament.
Dingle almost stole it.
Almost caught me there in the assist turnover ratio. Epps has just been phenomenal so far in the NCAA.
9-to-1 ratio for Epps. 27 assists, 3 turnovers is all during the NCAA tournament.
In a fast pace up and down the court type game. I mean, that's just amazing.
Wright has come back for UMass. Epps was falling away on the 3. Pope follows it up. Camby rejects.
This team sets all kinds of records in shot blocking. Good hit ahead.
Travieso. He waited till Delk went by, and UMass back in front by 2.
You think these two guards don't feel each other? They don't even have to see each other. They feel each other.
Great sixth sense. These two roommates. Anderson, three-pointer.
Kentucky rushing their shots. They can get much better shots than this.
Camby from the baseline.
And Pope is making Camby run. You can see what Rick Pitino wants to do. Wear down that big man in the middle.
They get Delk inside. Walker snapped the pass inside. Kentucky only 2 out of 9 from the field.
Jim, it's not the way they're shooting the ball, it's the shots that they're selecting to shoot is creating that bad percentage.
Travieso picked up his second right there, Billy. And Delk to the line for 2. Walker out, McCarty in.
I'll make the same comment I made in the first game, Jim. If you don't have a long bench and your team is healthy, as this team is in the University of Massachusetts, the one thing that can make you unhealthy is get a guy in foul trouble.
So what they have to do now is they bring in a freshman, Charlton Clark, for Travieso, who goes out with the 2.
Well, you're looking at a team whose starting lineup all average over 31 minutes a game. So you can see John Calipari having to go to that bench often and early, much more so than he normally would.
Yeah, he already is. Tony Delk, the all-time leading scorer at the guard position in Kentucky school history, and this game marked his 100th consecutive start. Delk with 5 points. Kentucky and UMass exchanging punches early, all tied at 7.
Back at the Meadowlands, the UMass team got a surprise visitor in the locker room just before the game. Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy dropped in to wish them well. He told them that this is really a 3-point situation. They've got the best team, the best player, and the best coach. He said he didn't really feel like giving them inspirational messages because he told me he feels that this team is really inspirational to everybody else. Back to you guys.
All right, good stuff, Andrea. And UMass breaks the press. Padilla racing into the front court. This game tied at 7.
Trying to swing the ball and then pump back in to do a little high-low here with Camby on the inside with Weeks. Tried to go to the lob, had Delk down there. There's the swing.
Camby got a good shot off. Got 2 players on him, but a clear look at the basket. Anderson driving in. Camby underneath for the board.
Really a slashing player is Anderson, Jim. Everybody thought he was going to pull back up and dish out. That was a good play on his part.
Padilla to Camby.
Not a bad slashing move by Padilla.
And very unselfish. He could have put it up himself. The other end. Delk missing on the drive.
Camby wants somebody to come back. He'll take a little rest right here coming up the court. Here's where Kentucky may, even on missed shots, press a little bit to make Camby have to work harder.
McCarty pulls it down.
Too quick a shot for Massachusetts.
McCarty fakes and steps in, hits the two.
Camby, a great defender in the paint, but at loss out there. See Epps forcing him to go sideline. Doesn't want him to go out there with a solid screen and come up. Didn't want him there.
Padilla, jumper. Challenged that.
That's why he didn't want him there. He tried to force him to go right.
Kentucky racing. Delk caught underneath. Nowhere to go. And Kentucky's Anderson commits the foul. Look at this give up.
Oh, just a great bounce pass. Camby sat right down there and caught it very nicely. Camby goes down, rolls. Padilla hits him perfectly. Look at him find that seam, Jim. You see how he sat down? Great fundamental basketball. The passer gets down on the floor. That means the ball on the bounce pass will come up softer into the hands.
UMass has brought back Carmelo Travieso, and for the first time, Enos Norville. Kentucky, though, with Walker. Pulled down by Bright.
Kentucky really putting the ball up quickly with nobody underneath the basket for the opportunity for offensive rebounds. It's kind of hurting them.
Kentucky with subs also, two freshmen, Ron Mercer, Wayne Turner, and the man guarding Jeff Sheppard a moment ago. That's a wild shot off Sheppard. UMass, no, they say it was off UMass. Kentucky ball. And Syracuse trying to figure out its opponent.
But I'm trying to figure out how they got such good tickets. Who are those guys? Huh? Sitting there relaxing. I don't know if I've ever seen a team come back, Jim, and watch the second game. Have you?
I don't recall.
No.
And they're back quickly. Hey, enjoy the Final Four.
Absolutely.
Walker.
So far, Bright is having a great game off the defensive glass.
Yeah, he has 5 rebounds. Inside, back to Bright. Another beautiful dish by Padilla. 13-9 Minutemen. Walker got the position and won.
Well,
Padilla came through and he committed the foul.
You can see without Camby's presence down on the low post defensively, UMass in some trouble. Here's the great crossover dribble. And you saw Donta Bright running that court so well, it gets the pass. When you're playing with a guy like this, you know if you'll run the court, keep your eyes open, he'll get it to you.
Camby returns, so shuttling in and out, giving everyone a blow, and there's McCarty sitting for the second time.
Jim, when I look back at that game in November 28th, Padilla played 39 minutes, Travieso 36, Camby 33, Dingle 31. So we already see John Calipari working against some of those minutes, trying to keep his team a little fresher. And this is why they're tough to press. Everybody can catch that ball on the run.
Slams it home. Another assist by Padilla.
Padilla gets the assist, but Camby's the guy that made the catch and the pass to get it started. Not many teams have big men that can go ahead and pass in the open floor like this.
Now away from the ball. Here's another foul called against UMass, and it's going against Dingle. His first.
Epps back in. Turner sits down. Here's Padilla again. Look at that bounce pass. Looking straight ahead. And how about the points? I said it was 32-0 in the first game, but the bench is starting to get a few here. Mercer taking it out.
Padilla puts it in a place, though, where it's so easy to score, you know?
Sheppard. Excellent leaper on the inside.
Epps three-pointer, rainbow three. And that ties the score at 15.
Tim, Epps has elevated his game in all areas in this NCAA tournament. Travieso been quiet so far, hadn't really been open for many shots, hadn't touched it.
And had to sit on the bench for a while with 2 fouls.
He's got Sheppard on him. Sheppard, as I said, a great leaper, certainly matches him up physically. Actually, probably a better all-around athlete.
What a screen. Camby sets Padilla.
Look
Clears out for Camby with the follow-up 2.
How about that beautiful soft touch there? Just laid it on the glass.
Dingle off his hands.
There are those underrated forwards beating the man to the ball.
All right, we go to the break. Padilla missing on this one, but Camby in the right spot. UMass by 2.
First, Goodyear revolutionized wet traction design with AquaTread. Now Goodyear introduces the first tire with...
Rick Pitino said the loss to UMass at the start of the year helped us more than any win. It taught us how to potentially become a great basketball team.
Well, of course, the big move that they made was put Epps at the point and put Delk out at the 2 guard. They made that a change immediately after that ball game.
Freshman Ron Mercer, what a nice turnaround shot that is.
As I said, all the guys can handle the ball. Dingle helps bring it up that time.
We have our 6th tie here 9 minutes into the game.
Mercer playing backcourt defensively now on Padilla.
Tough shot. They had 2 players on Camby, including Pope.
There was that double down effect. You can see it's much more effective against Camby when he posts up as opposed to when he's moving and gets into the post.
McCarty spins, lost control of it, and traveled in the process.
Great job by Clark coming over for weak side defensive help. There was no place for McCarty to go, Jim. And there's McCarty. What a target to try to throw over against the press.
But there's a good target to find also. Camby.
Yep, you had a 6'6" guy throwing to a 6'11" guy.
Tough pass here, but Bright's in the right spot. Leans in with the body. He's going to the line for a couple. He's always known how to use that body ever since he played center in high school at Dunbar in Baltimore.
#1 high school team in the country when he was in senior at Dunbar. Of course, a school that's had a number of great players get into the Final Four. One meant the MVP, Reggie Williams, the MVP of the championship game when Georgetown won the national championship.
They've had others through the years, too. Great players, that is. Reggie Lewis, Tyrone Bogues. He was a teammate, was Bright, with Keith Booth, a cousin, played at Maryland this year, and also Michael Lloyd, formerly of Syracuse.
Exactly who he would have been seeing in tomorrow's game had Michael stayed at Syracuse. If he gets there.
If he gets there. That ball last touched by Dingle.
You see Massachusetts not looking to pick up full court in the same intensity as is Kentucky, but changing things around a lot. Here's a double team out front.
Mercer takes the jumper. Delk follows.
A push.
Yeah.
A push from behind. Tony Delk didn't need to do it to get that rebound.
For Delk, his first.
I don't really see a flow in this game yet, Jim. Here we are.
Yeah, you don't really have a good sense of it, do you?
10-minute mark. We've got a very close game, obviously, 1-point differential, but I don't think either team has settled into a pattern yet.
Mercer just pick his pocket ahead. McCarty. Wow. He had Camby on his right shoulder, but Mercer stopping that move.
Mercer showed a lot of explosiveness there on the defensive end of the floor. You expect it from him offensively, but
and
another good play.
Throws it away.
Timeout.
Padilla too much.
Looks like John Calipari wants his 20, and this is going to be one where he gets in their face.
Just a 20.
Jim, I don't know if there's any young coach that's built a program from where he took it over to where he has it right now. 5 straight championships in the Atlantic 10, regular season as well as conference tournament championships. It's only done once before by the great Everett Case at NC State down at the Southern Conference. But an incredible job by this guy.
He took over a program in 1988 that had suffered through 10 straight losing seasons.
You think that Rick Pitino wishes he had kept that $5,000 in his pocket that he used to supplement his salary? Pitino, of course, on the board, a well-known story, on the board that helped select the coach. And he really is a guy that John owes his job to.
Short, followed up by Walker.
Well, you can't have Camby block the shots and get the rebound, too. Nobody there to help. Press is having its effect when the ball is not in Padilla's hands. You notice that? Whenever he's got it, something good happens. The rest of the guys very frenetic out here. And Delk realizes that too, so Tony, with his experience, trying to keep him occupied.
Padilla looking for that screen. He goes away from it. Good dish. Camby. Good shot. Rattles out. Camby tips it up. Almost. McCarty comes barreling out of there. Kentucky running again. McCarty called a timeout as he was flying out of bounds.
McCarty he's a guy that can put the ball on the floor, Jim, but he kind of lost concentration going down that sidelines.
Well, he signaled for the timeout. They said he was out of bounds first.
Better off probably not getting it.
I wouldn't want to burn one this early.
No, not at this stage. Here he goes in the air. Hey, legally, it was a timeout that he should have got. He was in the air, has the right to call it.
His foot had not touched the line.
Travieso has got to get in this game offensively, Jim. He hasn't been a factor yet.
Padilla 3.
Wasn't ready to shoot.
Good clear out by Kentucky.
Boy, Kentucky explodes from offense to defense and vice versa, don't they?
Camby blocks. And UMass ball off Walker. Travieso has made only, well, one shot. It's only taken one. Derek Anderson comes back in for the Wildcats. Mercer, the freshman, very active. Hit one shot while he was in there. McCarty out again. And
Jim, this team cannot afford to have Travieso not have a good offensive game. He had 20 against Georgetown. He had 21 against Central Florida, 14 against Arkansas, and 14 against Stanford. They have got to have production out of that young man. He's not going to be asked to handle the ball that much against the press, but he's got to finish at the end.
Padilla got stuck and almost taken away by an alert Epps.
You don't want to get up in the air in the backcourt to make a pass.
UMass has gone almost 4 minutes with but one field goal. Camby give and go to Dingle.
Anderson coming from the weak side, got him before he could come down. I like that offensive set, though, by Massachusetts with a high screen and then kicking the ball back over so Camby can set up down low. It's one way they can get him down there without the double team.
2 on Anderson. Alan Edwards comes in for the first time. With Anderson's 2 whistles, he sits.
And Jim, Padilla bending over, grabbing those shorts. We've got 8 minutes to go in this half. That young man's really been extended.
They've already set up Camby for 9 field goal attempts. He's made 3 of them.
Well, he's had games where maybe you get him quiet for a while, then he explodes.
Right. Good shot up and over Walker. 5 for Bright.
Bright had a 17.7 rebound game against Georgetown, so he's very capable.
Delk jumper. Just a pure score.
Oh, can't shoot it any nicer than that.
.7:30 to go in the first half. And what looked like it might be a real fast-paced, high-scoring first half's kind of settled down now a little bit.
See, how many different men has Rick Pitino put on Padilla today? You know,
He just brought in Edwards and he collects a foul.
That's the 4th man that's guarded him so far in this half.
Padilla has 6 assists. Bright scored on that one.
Coaching college basketball, I'm always out there.
It looks like straight man-to-man pressure with Mercer on Padilla, but watch what happens when he reels to come up court. You're going to see pressure coming from 3 different directions. Kentucky takes their defense and turns it into offense. Here comes the 3 men in the trap. Mercer with the steal. McCarty gets it. Even Camby can't block that one.
Kentucky leading 23-20 with 7:22 to go in the first half. UMass has attempted only 1 3-pointer.
Jim, I think you got to set Travieso up for some kind of way to get off some shots here in this first half. He has really been shut down by Delk. See if they have anything in mind for him. Here he comes off a screen. Too late.
Bright turnaround too strong. Camby's on the line. They'll bring in Weeks.
I really think that John Calipari on that particular time down court had in mind something for Travieso. I realized that Bright was open in the low post, but you know where he's sitting right now, don't you? Over on the bench. Weeks is in there. Walker, the great passer.
Scores off the pass from Walker.
How nice it is to have a 6'8" man that can pass the ball.
He's on the line, a turnover.
I really think Walker's developed into the best passing big man in college basketball. Makes him so tough. And he can do other things.
He can do a lot. I'll tell you, you're looking at a first-team All-America perhaps next year. Delk. He traveled. Yep.
Well, Travieso showed us against Allen Iverson that he can guard anybody, and he sure did the job on Tony Delk there. Stopped him on 3 occasions on 1 attempt to penetrate.
So UMass down 5. Its largest deficit of this NCAA tournament.
There was straight man-to-man pressure. Kentucky drops on back.
Paul got that steal. No call. He's reached in, forced it. Delk underneath. And they have a chance to go up 8.
Second time today that Tony Delk has finished off on the inside. He is an excellent finisher, whether it be on the break or on the drive. Terrific play by Tony Delk. Epps comes down floor, almost loses it, makes a good decision, and then there's Delk with that ability to finish, puts it up with the left hand. 2 times the leading scorer in the state of Tennessee, came on board at Kentucky primarily as a scorer. Jim, I know he has great stats this year, but in my estimation, this young man's leadership has what's separated Kentucky from the field during the course of the regular season. I mean, he realized early on it had to be the team before self, and he's the guy that set the stage. And you've got your best player being your best leader. That's a terrific accomplishment.
Dingle with a cut lip and with 2 fouls. So an official timeout. Monday night, Syracuse. Jim Boeheim. I was talking to him after the game, Billy, about 33 years there as a player, assistant coach, and the last 20 of the 33 years as head coach, looking for that championship to take home.
Jim, we're always looking for stories, you know, but Jimmy Boeheim's attitude, I realize his personality is so much different from Jim Valvano's, is the way, you know, they basically act. But, you know, they both remind me of 2 guys that, in talking to Jimmy Valvano back in '83 and Jim Boeheim here, like, hey, what am I doing here? You know, having a good time. I mean, everything's a bonus in life. I mean, it's incredible how similar they are, even though they have different personalities.
Jim Boeheim says in 25 years, only twice has he forgotten to book a hotel at the Final Four. One year was '87 because I didn't want to go, and he ends up qualifying for the Final Four, getting all the way to the title. And then this year he forgot. And here he is, a game away from the title.
He was sure somebody from the Big East was going to be here. He just didn't know it was going to be Syracuse. And that pressure really taken Massachusetts out of their offense early on here. They have not been able to get the ball where they want it. Travieso had not been able to even get a shot.
Weeks hammered. Travieso has been just locked down, and that's called on Allen Edwards, his second.
We're talking about a Massachusetts team that got to the line this year 899 times coming into this basketball game. They do that because Camby is such a factor inside. There we see Dingle leaving the floor. Probably is going to have to get some work on that cut. Tough break for Massachusetts. That shortens up that bench an awful lot.
And this man will have to be called on a little bit more. Tyrone Weeks out of Philadelphia. Always viewed Hank Gather as a mentor back in that neighborhood. Gather used to bring him back some of his sneakers. Pass him on to the kids in the neighborhood. Hank gathers a big hero back in Philadelphia, still to this day. They don't forget him. They travel. They've got him again on that call.
Yeah, there he goes with that steps jump stop. Now Rick Pitino's going to say, hey, wait a second. We work on that. He's over there talking. We work on that in practice. That was a Hank Nichols perfect display of what is traveling on that play that he gives to the officials before the season starts. That will be in his reel next year, I can assure you. Does Travieso have blood on his arm, Jim, or is that just like a pencil mark? You see it there? Big red welt on his arm.
I'm looking for it.
It's on his left arm. Already you're down with Dingle down with a cut. Sure can't afford that. Padilla, rather.
Padilla to inbound. Watch out, better not move too much. The official looked down to see if he moved that second foot.
He got stuck almost like anchored in cement down there. There it is. That's Padilla's arm. You see that? It looks like it's scratched.
28-21 Wildcats approaching 5-minute mark first half.
So far Kentucky has taken Massachusetts out of what they want to run half court.
Padilla wildly threw that one up, got it back somehow. And he'll go to the line for a couple.
Just created a shot, and a good lesson for young players. Sometimes when you're down in low like that as a small man, don't try to make the shot as much as you're trying to get fouled. Excellent move.
Sheppard's second will send Edgar Padilla to the line. Sheppard to the bench.
Padilla, an outstanding player in Massachusetts on a high school level in Springfield, but was kind of overshadowed by the exploits of Travis Best there, and left Springfield after his junior year, went back to Puerto Rico, and of course then was recruited out of that back to Massachusetts.
Padilla and Travieso hoping to play for Puerto Rico in the Olympics this summer.
Puerto Rico will have an excellent basketball team. So their addition obviously will be very prominent. But believe me, Puerto Rico will be well represented without them if they fail to make it.
Travieso blocked by Delk, but into the arms of Weeks. What was that? Travieso, Camby flings it into the air, and Bright reached in for the foul.
Jim, that reminded me of what we saw Mississippi State do in the first game. Make plays that weren't there, causing a lot of turnovers. Travieso may be getting a little frustrated. He can't get anything started.
Second on Bright. And now they bring in Wayne Turner out of Boston.
And Travieso on the year, Jim, at 102 threes. It's a New Atlantic 10 record. So you're looking at a young guy right now that John Calipari needs to get open somehow with 4:34 to go in this first half. Kentucky has done a great job on him with their defense.
Well, he made 18 threes alone in the first 4 games of this tournament. Now they've got a chance for a break as Travieso explodes out, followed up by Bright. 28-24.
Bright has been picking this team up with an excellent first half. And now the UMass fans, a good back top.
Turner got the roll. Walker with the pass and assist.
Excellent back screen there. There's Mercer, who did a pretty good job with defense in that press when he was in there before. 2 freshmen on the floor now for Kentucky.
Turner and Mercer. Turner manning the ball right now.
There's the double team. Nice hit.
Bright to the hole, lays it in.
Brilliant play by Marcus Camby. He felt the double team coming, got rid of the ball immediately.
Mercer stepped to the hole.
Mercer having a big game, Jim. Coming off the bench with very productive minutes.
Delk, you can almost see that one coming. 3:30 remaining, first half. Delk with 10, Kentucky up 6.
like a...
To that bloodied lip, and we expect him to return. Delk, the leading scorer, with 10 points. Camby credited with 3 blocks, 5 rebounds, 7 points.
Jim, but the stat that jumps out to me is UMass 5 points out of their backcourt. And I really think that that's an absolute key for them in the next 3 minutes, is to get Travieso a shot some way so that he can get his stroke going before he goes in at halftime and starts thinking about it.
Brought in a new player for UMass, number 44. And there he is, almost turning it over. Nunez, Rigoberto Nunez for UMass.
And all his job is to go out there and set some screens. Tony Delk down on Travieso, and he really is keeping an eye on him. Double high screen.
Camby over the top, weak.
Beautiful.
Camby, hard effort, but no points.
Look at Walker handle that ball in the open court.
He can really do that. Delk, open 3. Travieso, good hustle to get that rebound off the floor.
Beat Turner to the ball. That was a Kentucky horse race for that one, wasn't it? 2 guys going. Kind of like Cigar the other day, huh? Going for that ball.
Well, Camby, outside they call it. You know, Rick Pitino had a horse running earlier today.
Is that
Mr.
right?
Tyler ran
And?
at Turfway Park.
And what happened?
Finished 3rd.
How about that?
He's not looking for any third place finish.
That may be good. A show. What is that? A show? Is that a place?
That's the show.
A show? He doesn't want any show here. He wants a guy at the wire.
Pope sits with his first. You missed the 3rd place game at the Final Four?
No, I really think that that's something that should have been done away with a long time ago. You remember when it was done away with, the last one?
1980.
1981.
Yeah, in
1981.
Philadelphia.
Yep.
LSU was down there against Virginia in the 3rd place game. Clark comes back in.
That was the Final Four in which President Reagan was shot. And very trying times for us there for a while.
Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, Pat Quinn, Coach K, Coach Herrick, George. All the first half analysis, plus Jim Boeheim will be joining them.
Mercer trying to post up down low.
Turner, 2-point shot.
There's a push by Delk. He gets away with it.
Look at that hold on Mercer. Called on Mercer.
But see, this is one team, Jim, that can't get into foul trouble. You know, Rick
It really
Pitino,
is.
yeah, I mean, how do you get in foul trouble when you can look down that bench, 12 deep quality players?
So Jim Boeheim will get more comments from the coach who won the first game here today, 77-69. His team committed only 5 turnovers, got a big second half from Todd Bergen.
And Jim, when you think of great semifinal games, I think back of Kentucky Duke. Adolph Rupp's club sitting over in that other wing with Utah and sitting over there with Texas Western. Everybody wondering about the Kentucky Duke. Who's going to win that one? They'll be the national champion. Yep,
30 years ago,
1966. Kentucky won the game, went to the final, and Don Haskins' club beat Adolph Rupp's club.
32-28, 2:10 remaining first half.
1-4 offensive set, trying to post up Delk inside. Boy, Clark is giving him a lot of hand-to-hand combat.
Walker's got Camby away from the basket. Walker.
Nice
shot,
passing.
and that was just a 2.
Nice passing by Turner and Walker together.
7 for Walker. Not really been a first half of spurts like the first time they played when UMass led by 19 at 29-10, only to see Kentucky come back and tie it at the intermission.
See, there's the double team. Weeks has got to anticipate the double team, throw before he catches the ball. Camby would have been wide open for an easy shot.
Official, who admits he never saw it, so they look at the arrow, and it belongs to Kentucky.
We'll see the replay. Now watch, when that ball comes in, here's the double team. You have got to be ready to pass. The minute that you touch the ball, throw the ball opposite from where the double team man came.
Looked like McCarty kind of hiked it out of bounds.
John Calipari trying to get a Nice little discussion going. Both coaches handling themselves very well on the sideline.
These two met in the Sweet 16. These two coaches, two teams, 1992. It was the prelude to the Kentucky-Duke game in a regional final. Speaking of Kentucky-Duke games,
Set up one of the greatest.
the interesting thing in that game was that Calipari got called for a technical for being out of the coach's box. You remember that, Billy? It was
Yes, I do.
pivotal point in that game.
We were watching that down in Lexington, weren't we?
We were.
Yep.
Getting ready for the Southeast Regional, where the Fab Five came out of.
We had Camby, Walker. Walker thinks he can take on the dribble and does.
Camby, though, just hammers that one out of bounds. 4 on the shot clock.
Now, let's see how well Kentucky recognized it. Look at this, a neat move by Patino. Real quick, he gets Epps in the game, realizing Epps is his best decision maker, so he brings him in there with a 4-second situation. Plus, he gets the time to stop a little bit so his team can get organized. A very clever move.
Delk leans in.
And did that pay off?
Got him 2
Terrific
points.
piece of coaching there.
36-28.
Nobody coming to the ball.
Now Clark does. 40 seconds to go in the half.
Well, Jim, one thing didn't happen that I thought had to happen for Massachusetts, and that is Travieso had to be out there getting off. He didn't do it in the first half.
Walker.
Telegraph pass.
20 seconds to go. You know, the last 2 Final Fours, we've had buzzer beaters at the half.
Yes.
Damon Stottlemyre did it 2 years ago, and then Dwight Stewart with the half-court heave last year. Let's see if we can get one here.
I don't think Kentucky's going to let Massachusetts have a chance at one of those.
Let's see if they can make one, though, to beat the buzzer.
Well, they won't throw a bomb, will they? They get it inside.
There's Camby's fire.
Jim, I was rooting for you. I was rooting for you. That would have been the all-time call.
You were halfway out of your chair. All right, the 8-point lead ties Kentucky's largest lead of the half. And the score, Kentucky 36, Massachusetts 28. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA National Semifinal game is sponsored by Burger King. Extra Strength Tylenol. Goodyear. And by Gateway 2000.
The picture of the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City, and somewhere on that bridge, somebody I hope is bringing me a new voice. In the meantime, Kentucky leads UMass 36-28. Welcome back to Pennzoil at the half. I'm Pat O'Brien, along with the 2 coaches in QB. And Quinn, what about the further? They're shutting those guards down, aren't they?
Well, they put a lot of different people on the guards. Padilla and Travieso only have 5 points, but you see Delk has guarded them, Epps has guarded them. They're trying to wear them down, eventually hoping to get some turnovers. They've had some success early.
Coach K, pick up the telestrator for us.
Well, I think that one of the keys to the whole game is the first half is points off of turnovers. Take a look at where Camby is at. Usually goes down the court. Now he has to come back up to receive the ball. This is what UMass does not want to have. Camby handling it in full court. He has to, right there. We don't want Camby to get the ball there. We want him to get it down the court. As a result, Kentucky's relentless pressure causes the turnover. Now points off the turnover. McCarty scores immediately. There's pressure and now UMass is they're not in sync, and as a result they force another turnover is forced. And take a look at John Calipari. He gets frustrated, calls a 20-second timeout, and Kentucky scores right after it. That's 4 points off of turnovers and a timeout.
Coaches never get frustrated, do they?
A little bit.
Must be frustrating when they go on these long binges without scoring. They went 6-17 once.
They didn't score 6-17 in the first half and no baskets, and consequently they're behind in the game, and you can't have droughts against a team like Kentucky.
All right, our first game, Syracuse beat Mississippi State. The first game of our semifinal, Mississippi State took on Syracuse in the opening game here on CBS. Lazarus Sims of Syracuse with the alley-oop to John Wallace with a slam to tie the game at 29. Then the Bulldogs, Dante Jones with a bullet bounce pass to Russell Walters, and he gets it in. Country style, and then Wallace with a turnaround jumper. He's really worked on his outside game this year. And that one goes in. Then Syracuse pushes us out, and Jason Cipolla He must like this side of the court, I'll tell you that, because he had a big one against Georgia and a big one tonight with the tray. And John Wallace and Syracuse celebrate their victory, heading to the national championship game, and a big night in New York for the Orangemen and for Jim Boeheim, who is our guest today. Jim, thanks for coming up.
Nice to be here.
Congratulations. What's this like?
It's a great feeling. When it's unexpected, I think it's a little bit better than when you expect to get here like these other two teams. And what was so great about today's game, it was everybody in the second half. It wasn't one or two guys, everybody.
When you say unexpected, a lot of people were talking up Mississippi State, including a few of us here, so you're kind of the secret hidden team in this.
Well, I like to prove guys like you wrong, but it's hard. Mike Krzyzewski, when he goes against you, you know, it's tough. It's tough the way he's been here, and especially when I used to think he was one of my good friends.
Hey, Jim, you were there in 1987 against Indiana. How much did you pull from that game as you started to take your team into this semifinal?
Well, I told him I've been dreaming about that game for 10 years, and I know you were happy that night too, Quinn. But anyway, I know that how bad it feels, and all I've talked to the players about since we started this tournament is go out there, don't worry about what people think about you. That isn't going to score any points for the other team. Just play your game. And our seniors, it's our seniors that have done it, not me. Lazara Sims, John Wallace, they pulled all these guys along, and they believe.
Jim, what about your zone? Has everybody had the trouble? I know you went into Arizona and beat them in Tucson. The zone, big size, it's tremendous.
I thought the zone early in the year was great for us. Then we actually had to go away from it. It was not effective in our league, and we came back to it near the end of the year. And it's been so good in the tournament. My video's getting ready. I think they're producing it as we go along. The 2-3 zone, Jim Boeheim.
Jim, can I be your new friend now?
Yeah, we can be friends, maybe.
What about the adjustments that you made in the zone?
Well, not only that, but I saw you using that zone this year, so I know it must be good. But we tried to get it. We didn't recognize the shooters early, Mike. After a while, we started to get out and recognize where the shooters were. They hurt themselves with turnovers, but I think the story of the game was just balance. Todd Bergen's been struggling a little bit. He sticks a big three when they went to the zone, and then Jason, who's made 2 steals this year, made 1 big one and makes the shot off.
Let's talk about this game. I know you'd like these guys to go into double overtime, right, and beat each other up. Yeah, triple. What about this game?
Well, these are 2 great teams. They expected to be here. They both play great defense. They both can hurt you on either end of the court, and they're a challenge. We know that. But we've had 4 or 5 of those in a row. We're looking forward to the opportunity to play Monday night.
All right. You played against UMass before. You had to play him a little bit without Marcus Camby. Give me your thoughts there.
Well, Marcus had gotten hurt, but then he came and he got a miraculous. John put the hands on him, and he played against us. We did a pretty good job. We're 2 down, 2 up at the half in Hawaii, but they came out, really got after us in the second half. And I think we've learned a little bit from that game, just how good they are. And they're a full game team. They're not a half team. They're going to come out in this half. And Kentucky's a great team, but they need to be ready for Massachusetts because they'll come at them in this half.
I can see the video now, can't you? The 2-3 zone by Jim Boeheim. Honestly, it'd be a bestseller. By the way, thanks for dinner last night. Yeah. It's nice to see you.
Why do
I
have to pick up your check? I don't understand that.
Congratulations. We'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend. For all of us here on Pennzoil at the Half, thank you for watching. Enjoy the second half here on CBS. Big-time college basketball. See you later.
Pennzoil at the Half was sponsored by Pennzoil. For more engine miles, Pennzoil works like liquid ball bearings.
CBS Friday.
Kentucky, 8-point lead at halftime. Billy, let's go back and check your pregame points, including the guard combo.
Well, Jim, the guard combo really coming up short in this one. And the reason that Kentucky, I think, is in a big lead right here. Travieso is 0 for 1 from 3, 1 for 2. He only has 1 field goal. The long blue line, Jim, they're doing the job. 8 points, but even more importantly, I think great play defensively from the bench for Kentucky.
Perimeter power.
Well, Kentucky hasn't had to use that so much today. They're just 1 for 6 from 3, which is unusual for them, but they've been creating a lot with their defense.
And the double down factor
has been very important for Kentucky. Marcus Camby has not been able to score in the low post. Most of his points come on the move.
Kentucky with 8 steals, UMass with only 1. They're coming out for the second half. We'll be right back after this word from your local station. leads Kentucky with 12 points. And Billy, let's get right to that coach's edge.
Here we're going to see a double screen. Weeks goes out on Padilla, but looks, there's a back screen here for Camby. Camby's going to roll to the inside. Padilla comes off and hits him. This is what Massachusetts has to do more of. Get some set plays in their half-court offense. It gets it down inside. Camby puts it away. Now let's take a look at it as it's really played out. There's one solid screen. There's a back screen. Hit down to Camby. No time for the double team. Camby puts it away.
All right, Billy, the numbers from the first half. Both under 50% with UMass at 38. You know, UMass hasn't made a three, but interestingly, they had 3 games this year, Billy, where they never connected on a three-pointer. They won all 3 of those games against Maryland, St. Joe's, and Syracuse.
Now, Jim, I'll point out something there. 10 turnovers. They've had 10 games this year where they've turned the ball over 10 or less times for the whole game. Here they have 10 in the first half. Credit a lot of that to the great Kentucky defensive pressure. And, Jim, the start of this second half, I think it's absolutely critical for Massachusetts to get in their half-court set, get Travieso off with some kind of a jump shot. They've got Dingle back now. He had to go out and get that lip stitched up. But they've got to get a secondary score moving and moving early.
Dingle really had to sit out 8 minutes of that first half with the 2 stitches being applied.
They got the switch. Walker on Travieso.
Camby splits the defenders. Foul called on Epps.
That was a triple down. Anderson, Epps, and McCarty, who was originally set up on Camby.
Wright wanting to challenge Anderson. Takes him to the paint. And McCarty comes out of there with it.
He should have numbers if he can hit ahead quickly. You see Delk rubbing off McCarty.
Anderson posting up on Wright. And the pass in there from McCarty. Anderson's first 2.
There was so much concentration on what was going on the strong side of the floor that the weak side was open.
Double-digit lead for Kentucky.
In Massachusetts, when they have a double-digit lead, they never give it up. They've never lost a game when they get a double-digit lead, but they find themselves the reverse now. How about that play by Walker?
He's doing it all. He leads Kentucky in assists also. Epps trying to get it inside to Anderson. They'll reset.
Walker was the man that called the team into a closed-door session after that Massachusetts game and said, guys, we got to start pulling together here.
Travieso will pick up his 3rd.
Terrific offensive play. Now, here's the strong side of the floor. See where the ball is? All the activity defensively seemed to be concentrating there, and that gave Anderson a chance to come around from the weak side, be wide open one-on-one down low, even against a bigger man, Bright, who couldn't stop him.
So he has 3 now, does Travieso. Unable to get started offensively here. Held to only 2 points.
Here you see Delk rolling around with McCarty and break it inside.
Stop that pass. Delk almost had a 3-point opportunity.
Is that his 4th, Jim? Travieso's? It's a back screen. Beautiful 2-man game.
Number 4 right here.
That was the back screen on Travieso. Delk, who had great ability to put it away on the inside. And now a tough break for Massachusetts.
Clark has to come in for him. Out with 4 at the 18:25 mark of the second half.
Now we're talking about 2 different worlds now, Jim.
Talking about one of your biggest offensive players.
Oh, absolutely.
Clark coming in, averaging about a point a game.
1.3 points per game coming into the ball game. And you've got almost 13 going out.
He picked up 2 fouls there in a 13-second span. McCarty, they say Weeks had him with the arm.
I thought he had the block.
So did I.
Yeah. Let's see the call here. Maybe before the play. No, we were blocked out by all the players there.
Epps, and that's goaltending.
Yep, Camby right underneath the basket. Everything going wrong for Massachusetts at this point. Kentucky sensing the kill here.
Yep, up 13, largest lead.
Boy, they won't take that pressure off. Keep the dribble alive. The one man that doesn't catch it well in traffic, Jim.
Yep, snaps it inside. Anderson on the far side. He's hammered. And a line for two.
Padilla just went in there to rake him. There's got to be a timeout here for Massachusetts. This game getting away from him.
The 22nd timeout called by UMass. This is how quick it can happen, too. You know, Kentucky's come out, scored the first 5 points of the second half.
Jim, we're looking at a team in Massachusetts 26-0 on the road this year. When you look at some of the things that they have done, they've stopped winning streaks of teams that were undefeated 5 different times this year. This ball club, though, in serious trouble. Key scorer on the bench with 4 fouls.
It's not like you come back 15 down from Kentucky every day.
Absolutely.
Look at this. Oh, McCarty got a fingertip on it, so UMass retains possession. Otherwise, we were looking for a highlight.
Rick Pitino now up, even more visible than he was before. He knows that the knockout punch is potentially there. Here comes the trap.
A little too close. Delk pushing off. And that's his second.
Noticed in the first ball game, Jim, hand checking was called very closely, and there you see it again. Not that that was not a foul, but it's a quick one.
Camby swarmed. Dingle inside. Boy, that was a hard-earned two.
It sure was. Again, Camby recognizing that double team and getting rid of that ball.
That was UMass's first scoring of the second half. Travel.
And Rick Pitino doesn't like what he sees, and now he'll take his 22nd timeout. That was his first chance for the kill. It didn't happen, so he'll go back now and play this game out a little bit more.
Jim Boeheim watching, but if this Kentucky trend continues, I think I might go out for an early dinner.
Well, you know what?
Or a late dinner at this hour.
His teams have played fairly well against Kentucky. It's not like he hasn't seen them before. A man that's been around for 20 years knows how to prepare for a game. And that's the other thing, Jim, that's very interesting, is in the Final Four, you don't have, guys had 4 or 5 days to prepare for this game as far as what they wanted to do. Just 1 day of preparation for Monday night. So you want to stay pretty solid with your game plan. Nice job on McCarty. Recognized they wanted to go to Camby.
Dingle lucky to get that ball back. And the Kentucky player touched it last, they say.
If you watch Kentucky, if you ever get a chance to watch Kentucky practice, you'll see how fundamentally sound they are on that double down. McCarty anticipates the pass. That's why they get there so quickly against the man in the post.
Oh, they found Bright wide open. Someone lost him.
Little back screen cut. John Calipari out of that coaching box and is warned to get back in it. Boy, that would be a very upsetting technical.
Hold hold called on Clark.
Well, Clark can give the defensive minutes because he's so strong down there playing against Tony Delk. The problem is he can't give the offensive minutes that Travieso would be able to, who's sitting on the bench now with 4 fouls. What did he pick those up, Jim, with about 18 minutes to go?
18:25.
Yeah.
And he had those 2 in a 13-second span. 4. Oh, Walker missed a layup.
Kentucky ran an out-of-bounds play similar to Massachusetts.
And Clark saved 2.
Hey, Clark's banging some guys around in there. He's got fresh legs.
Clark came on the end of the year for this UMass team.
Of course, he was out with that operation to his right foot.
They broke his foot in the Kentucky game. Missed 14 games after that. Tony Delk with a little string music.
Beautiful extension on the jump shot by Delk. He's well guarded. Use it, Dingle, to beat the press. But they don't have a finisher. They don't have a finishing shooter.
Well, there's Clark penetrating for 2.
He's given some big minutes here. Young man from New York City, St. Raymond's High.
McCarty
against maybe the best shot blocker along with Tim Duncan in college basketball, still gets it off.
Yeah, wriggles free from Camby. 47-34, approaching 16 minutes. Clark feeling confident, steps in. Camby, good night.
Getting some better shots here. Clark holding his fist up as if he wants to come out and take a breather. You notice this, but he can't get a breather. There's nobody to put in. And no, John Travieso got up off the bench. Calipari said, I can't go with him.
They're going to look at bringing in Goodell, Padilla, Edgar's older brother, tie up, and the arrow belongs to UMass. We reach an official's timeout.
Look where Calipari is. He's all the way down in front of the Kentucky bench. He's got to get his club back.
For action here at the Meadowlands. Goodell Padilla, older brother of Edgar, now into the game. They have Travieso on the bench with 4 fouls.
Jim, he got up. He thought he was going in. John Calipari grabbed him by the shirt and said, no. Got to save you as long as I can.
Rejected by Edwards. I love this man's enthusiasm, though, John Calipari. Look at this.
He is not coming down to coach Kentucky. He's going down to get his club. That's kind of being out of the coaching box.
Just a little bit.
Obviously, you can be on the floor, but John went all the way down to see his friend Rick Pitino on that one. There's the double on Camby, even though he's outside.
Dingle takes advantage, and a 15-point lead has dwindled to 9.
Tough knocking out a #1 team, isn't it? These guys are used to winning. They don't want to be put away. Rick Pitino tried to go for the knockout, and it just wasn't there.
Goodell Padilla comes in to help out, and they call a push-off foul on Mark Pope.
Well, Padilla was just trying to get the out-of-bounds call. He ended up getting a foul call.
I think at first he thought he was going to be whistled for it.
Yeah. You ever see it inside? Padilla goes down on the inside. Well, I really didn't see a foul there on Pope at all. But the call was made.
Derek Anderson back in for Kentucky. And Walker also returns.
Give John Calipari a lot of credit, Jim. He is juicing up this ball club on that sideline. A lot of emotion over there coming out of him. And his team is responding. Always good to throw that ball back against that press. Nice job by Massachusetts. Walker anticipating the pass down inside.
Look at this spin move. Padilla to Camby and 1. And that wasn't Edgar, that was Goodell.
And Jim, he took off like he knew exactly what he wanted to accomplish.
What a great story. The Padilla brothers in the backcourt. Camby has a chance to bring this within 6.
We're talking about a young man that has played in 20 games, 34 minutes total for the year, and coming off the bench like he belongs out here. Terrific pass.
He is the one who introduced basketball to his kid brother. Edgar was a baseball player. He said, I want you to try this. And they are really something special, these two. Their parents here. Their parents are deaf. There's Mr. Padilla right there. Mariano.
Well, they said when they came to this country, they spoke 2 languages, Spanish and sign language. And, of course, now doing so well together at the University of Massachusetts.
Edgar was talking about how much he idolizes his older brother. Gave him a Valentine's Day card just to tell him I love him.
And he is absolutely fired up. Tony Delk.
Inside, too strong. The UMass rebound out to Camby.
Oh, smart play by Marcus to pull up. Nothing there. Too important a possession to try to make the great play. Looking to swing the ball back over to him. Walker doesn't bite on it.
And on the shot clock.
Walker's on Dingle. He understands where Camby is. So watch him anticipate the double team if they go that way.
Delk quickly inside. 1 on the shot clock. Oh, great. Had a chance at a layup.
You know what happened to him, Jim? He was looking at the shot clock as opposed to catching the ball. Tough play. John Calipari would like to have that possession back.
13:37 remaining. 6-point Kentucky lead.
There's Delk posting up on Padilla down inside.
Delk rejected by Camby. Foul called. Padilla called on, Goodell Padilla.
When you take a look at Marcus Camby's career, freshman 105 blocks. Sophomore year 103. And then this year he comes in with 122. You see Marcus Camby. Look at that timing. Terrific shot blocker.
McCarty in for Kentucky.
Jim, you know, when you talk about his blocking, I thought it was really interesting. There have only been 4 guys who have blocked over 300 shots in college basketball up to their junior year. Timmy Duncan, we got 2 of them playing, Timmy Duncan and Marcus Camby. And then Shaquille O'Neal. And then the last guy was Rodney Blake of St. Joe's. That really surprised me.
Well, Travieso has come back in, Billy. And Goodell Padilla goes out to a warm welcome from his teammates. And 2 misses by Delk. Travieso on the floor with the 4 fouls. He's set out for 5 minutes.
Nice pass.
Right. Camby trying to tip it in. Empty trip.
2 shots that Wright normally could have put away.
Walker. Boy, they are really intense out here. Camby was so high. I thought he might goaltend it for a minute, but didn't get a finger on it. Now they've had 2 straight empty trips. Make it 3.
How much energy can they expend in the comeback to have anything left if they ever get there?
3-pointer.
Those are killer shots. Calipari got great play from Padilla, great play from Clark. Now this man right here has got to give him something along with his running mate in the backcourt. But Epps just won't let Travieso get, he's almost like in his shirt. Just hadn't been able to get a shot.
Right in traffic, and UMass trying to continue that comeback, but that's 4 straight possessions without a point.
Jim, sometimes you get so tired after making an exhaustive run like that, you just can't get it going.
Delk. And Dingle. Boy, McCarty almost ripped it away. Dingle with a good job to hold on to it.
That ball came up so high off the rim that Dingle had to wait on it. Anderson sitting down on defense.
Camby outside.
Not what Mass needed on that possession.
And look what happens as a result. McCarty.
Big mistake by Marcus Camby there, Jim, because he took a shot out of his range so nobody was ready to rebound. They're calling a 20-second timeout. Do they have one left? I thought they took it in the second half.
They already took their 20, didn't they?
Don't have it.
So it's a full timeout, and we'll be right back.
And shoots from the wrong place, something bad happens. Here you see Camby put it up. He's not used to going there. He goes inside, no chance for a rebound. McCarty off and running, an easy 2 for Kentucky.
Kentucky's sending some people over. That was scheduled to be the next dead ball, was supposed to be a TV timeout, but UMass called the 20, didn't have it, so they had to take a full. Hold on.
Boy, turn it over. Jim, talk about 3 things going wrong there. A bad shot leads to a play. Then you call a timeout thinking you have a 20, which you don't have, and then you get the ball taken away on a possession on out of bounds. 3 big turnovers.
Well, they got it down to 6. They had a bunch of chances.
Travieso playing like he doesn't have any fouls on him. There's another reach in. He's got to be real careful here. Padilla, rather. That was both Padillas in there. I look at one down on one end of the floor. Didn't realize it. They took Travieso out. They've got Clark to bring him back in as well. Nice movement by Kentucky. Got Walker alone.
Walker with a slam.
Such a versatile player. We saw John Wallace in the first game. Very similar.
And a hold on Anderson.
Here we see Walker down inside. Dingle tries to go up on top defensively, but he's sealed off and can't do it. Nice job. Boy, in the revolving door. Here comes Mercer in with fresh legs.
That Camby also comes back in for Weeks. Mercer for Kentucky. Padilla, look out, they were setting up for it. One calls a travel, and that's what'll stick.
Well, it was going to be a charge, but then it became a walk. Padilla comes off the screen, heads up court. Epps is waiting on him.
54-41, Wildcats, 10:48 remaining. Walker was open on the baseline for a moment.
Delk put that ball right out for Padilla to take it. Couldn't get his hands quick enough.
Walker challenging Camby to the hole.
Tough assignment, isn't it? Camby pretty quick out there. Padilla was looking for the lob pass.
Jumper, good. Dana Dingle. He has 8 points. 54-43, halfway through the second half.
Jim, Massachusetts probably has time for one more big run, but do they have the energy?
Walker trying to, he's throwing inside, and Weeks picked it off.
Walker patted himself on the head, say, start thinking out there. He's been making good judgments today.
And right on the back, Walker is going to be whistled for that one.
Weeks with a wide body, you can't get around him.
That's the 6th team foul on Kentucky. Right back in, and Travieso also returns. Mark Pope for Kentucky.
And the key right now, if they're going to make a run, you're waiting for Travieso to open up.
Epps on Padilla. Delk on Travieso.
Delk is right there with him. You know how aware Kentucky is whenever he moves. He's got a Kentucky player with him.
McCarty went for the steal, recovers nicely. They've got Travieso open, three-pointer at last. And that's for UMass. Its first three-pointer of the game.
It's a key, Jim. Got to get him off the snide.
Epps driving, off by Camby. Into the arms of Travieso. He traveled.
There was a little bit of fumble, and that's what made Tony Delk have to get out of position slightly, giving up just enough room for Travieso to become Travieso. There's his three. Been a long time coming, Jim.
His trademark, his 19th three of the tournament. 8-point margin here for the Wildcats with 8:48 remaining. The winner plays Syracuse Monday night for the national championship. Mercer to the hole. Ball, this freshman has matured today, right before our eyes. I mean, he's had strong close to the season. Brought along nicely. Travieso.
Epps couldn't get there in time that time.
That was a quick release. 56-49.
Jim, remember, he has 4 fouls on him, so he can only play about half speed on the defensive end of the floor here.
Edgar Padilla bumped Delk, and that will put him on the line for a 1-and-1.
If you're
the 7th.
If you're Massachusetts, you like to play good hard-nosed defense, but you would rather have him on the floor not playing with such intensity defensively in order to have his shot available.
Camby keeps shuttling in and out. Padilla's 3rd foul, and Delk, who put up 2 misses on his last trip to the line, will shoot a 1-and-1. And they've missed them all the same.
Travieso trying to get loose again, but Epps is with him.
Right to Camby and out of bounds.
Donta probably should have shot that ball.
Just when you feel UMass is close to getting it right within range, there's a turnover or an empty trip, and Sheppard is back into the Kentucky lineup for Epps.
Now, Jim, the last 4 national champs were #1 seeds. Plus, the #1 team in the country has been 3 out of the last 4 national champs coming into this tournament. 1 is threatened right now.
McCarty bypassed the 3 to set up Mercer. Freshman gets another one. Ron Mercer.
How deep is that bench? Arguably the #1 high school player in America last year with Kevin Garnett. He's having a great game.
He tried to convince the official he never touched it, but he did, and it's UMass ball. So Mercer with 9. Really stroking it here in the second half.
You need 3,000 pounds Colby. Let me check.
We don't have it.
Limburger, Havarti, cheese curds,
Gouda.
Colby. Out of Colby.
Gouda.
No, I don't want the cheese festival to be a disaster either. What
Gouda.
about the nice age Gouda? Just found a warehouse stocked with 800-pound wheels ready to roll. You want it? Well, then it's yours. Want anything else? The Limburger. Something tells me Limburger's not quite right for the cheese float. Something in blue.
We're all out of blue.
We're all out of blue. Jack? We don't have Jack.
Cellular One is so remarkably clear that we're actually recording this commercial on it. Cellular One, the nation's #1 cellular service, clear across America.
Final call.
We've got to move fast, Kirby. I hope you booked Hertz.
Not exactly, but this company's fast. As fast as Hertz #1 club goal? Not exactly, but they do have a special place to pick up the car.
Like Hertz?
Not exactly, but it'll be waiting.
Under a canopy? With the keys in it?
Not exactly.
And protected from the weather?
Not exactly.
In Rent-A-Car, there's Hertz and there's not exactly. Make sure you choose the right one.
Counting on that promotion, Kirby?
No, not exactly.
Did you want regular or decaf? Hello? Regular? Or decaf? Regular?
Well, at least you know how to keep it from spilling. The powerful Accord V6 from Honda. Possibly the world's easiest decision.
First, Goodyear revolutionized wet traction design with AquaTread. Now, Goodyear introduces the first tire with a lifetime tread life warranty. The new all-season Infinitread. Its tread is guaranteed for as long as you own your car. Call 1-800-GOODYEAR.
right, Billy, here's a game summary. Jim Nance, Billy Packer back at the Meadowlands. Padilla, Travieso with 11 points together. Camby has now set an NCAA record for most blocks.
Beating Tim Duncan. Duncan only played in 4 games.
It's a career number.
Last year, of course, got to play in, let's see, what did they get, 3 last year?
Yep. Wake Forest came right here to the East Regional at the Meadowlands. Travieso, he's hit a couple of threes. Trying to get that into Camby, but the quick hands of Delk knocked it out.
Delk realized that he had been beaten on a screen, so fell back down inside to pick up the anticipated pass.
Padilla got a little lucky, got stuck. And Sheppard knocks it out of bounds.
Sheppard, a 7-foot high jumper. Really up in the air on that one. Almost blocked that with his elbow.
He's going to shoot it, then pass it, and then he just tried to shoot it and got knocked out of bounds. So they retained possession, down 10, 7:15 to go. 5 on the shot clock. They may not be aware of it. 2 on the shot clock. Padilla points for the first shot. He showed Camby the way. He pointed to the shot clock.
That's a walk. No call.
Unbelievable. Delk got away with that one.
Well, the official was blocked off on the call. Running away from the play. Both games have been beautifully officiated so far. First game was excellent.
Delk. And knocked out by Dingle with 13 on the shot clock.
Well, Delk got up in the air much as Padilla did on that shot and had to pass it while he was up there. Marcus Camby on that. Jimmy, Marcus Camby on that last turnaround jump shot. He's got that down as a patented move, doesn't he, when he's got room to operate. And John Calipari setting up outside the coaching box now. He better be careful.
Delk again got stuck. And Padilla got a hand on it.
Delk looks at the referee and said, hey, he's all over my elbow. Bright with Mercer on him. See if they can't post up Bright. A little bit more experienced.
Camby, Hope behind him.
Beautiful. And one. Turned away from the potential double team. Too late for anybody to get there. Epps is talking to McCarty saying, how come you couldn't help? But he was too far away. This is a beautiful job by Marcus Camby. Fakes to the inside, then goes outside. Mercer on the move, can't get there. Terrific turnaround jump shot. See this head fake? Head, ball, eyes, and then he takes it away with the drop step. Beautifully done.
It's Pope to commit his third. Camby has hit all 5 shots in the second half. That free throw reduces the lead to 59-54. 15-point lead down to 5 as Sheppard shuttles in. Said Camby, they're looking for revenge. We're looking for respect. Underneath. Foul called on UMass. Camby.
Is it Camby?
Violator. Yeah, he raised his hand.
I don't know if that was too smart. Let that referee work a little bit.
That's his second.
Any one of 3 guys could have been called for that when they were all around the traffic. Pope's an interesting guy. He led the Pac-10 in free throw shooting as a sophomore at Washington. Now he comes in here to Kentucky and nowhere near the same percentage free throw shooter that he was out there.
65% is Mark Pope. He was also the Pac-10 Freshman of the Year back in 1992.
Shot 86% from the line at Washington. I think of this Kentucky team, 2 key transfers with Pope and Anderson out here.
7-point lead, 6-minute mark, and it's a block. That could have been the 5th on Travieso.
Huge call.
You're not kidding. Anderson whistled for it instead. It'll be a 1-and-1 at the other end.
Does Anderson have his feet on the ground? The answer is absolutely no. Terrific call.
That's the 4th on Anderson.
He never had himself in a planted defensive position of which you can move off and stay with the dribbler, but he was never there in the first place. Mercer coming back in the game.
Ron Mercer, who wanted to come to Kentucky, didn't want to feel like he had to carry the load as a freshman. It was down to Tennessee or Kentucky, his final two choices, and that developmental process has certainly happened for him and is showing today. And there's Travieso's mother, Carmen.
And Jimmy, you talk about Mercer coming into the game. What did he do against Wake Forest in the last encounter in the NCAA tournament? 6 minutes, 0 points. Today he comes in very productive, looking like he could play for anybody in the country, which he probably can.
9 points by Mercer in all. 5-point game inside 6 minutes.
2-1-2 full court trap here by Massachusetts.
Walker dishes Sheppard for 2. That was that patented Kentucky passing.
And who's the man had the ball in his hands? Remember, Weeks couldn't handle it earlier. But you get it to Walker, and he can make something happen.
Breaks the press, does Padilla. Rejected by Pope.
All Padilla was trying to do there is get that ball up in the glass because he had Camby open.
Right.
Donta Bright, such a solid performer.
14 for Bright. Mercer lost control of it. UMass now has a chance to get even closer.
How about Camby, a look down inside if you can keep Walker occupied with Dingle. See, he's not guarding Dingle. That makes it tough.
Dingle tipped up and in by Bright. Minute by minute, this team from UMass is showing the signs of making just an unbelievable comeback, and a timeout called by Kentucky. It's a 3-point game with 4:56 remaining. Rick Pitino talking to his Wildcats. What's he saying here, Billy?
Well, Jim, this is not a replay from some day in practice. This is how they do it. It's just like a coach in a classroom. Very interesting to watch how he sits down, folds his leg, and goes through the messages. But right now, his team is facing somebody making a miraculous comeback.
15-point Kentucky second-half lead is down to 3. 63-60, 4:45 remaining. Outside, Bright called for the push.
Nice clear-out move by Kentucky that time. Anderson with a tremendous dribble drive on a slower but stronger man.
Anderson will shoot a 1-and-1. The Ohio State transfer, former Mr. Kentucky basketball.
You know, Jim, it's interesting. We talk about guys leaving early. The reason that this young man went to Ohio State in the first place is Jimmy Jackson left Ohio State early. He felt that was an opening for him.
Off Epps. So the front end missed. 3 to tie.
Always nice to be able to throw it up in the air to Camby, isn't it?
And Padilla hits across midcourt with a couple of seconds to spare. Stolen away. Epps will drive on Padilla. Got his hands in there. No foul. For the tie.
Wasn't ready.
That wasn't close.
No, it wasn't ready. Didn't need that shot at that time.
Slashing, Anderson gives it up inside. A hack.
Jim, Travieso has to be cognizant of the time on the clock. You're down 3, 4 minutes to go. You don't need the desperation 3-point shot. I thought Mississippi State did a little bit too much of that in the first game.
That looked like the final seconds kind of a shot.
Maybe
trying to
40
make up,
seconds.
Yeah, making up a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Sheppard for Delk in the Kentucky lineup. And Pope, who hit 2 earlier, just minutes ago, will shoot a couple.
Pretty clean there. Pope left Washington to transfer out of there when Lynn Nance was let go as coach at the University of Washington. Had a great relationship with his coach. Didn't want to go for the change.
5-point Kentucky lead. 2 big ones by Pope.
Massachusetts must get a good shot here. How about the way Rick Rick Pitino has rotated man after man on Padilla all day, giving him a different look defensively.
And Padilla's had to go just the whole way.
Oh, he's a 40-minute man, isn't he? He counts on playing them all.
8 on the shot clock. Camby outside.
Now, what they're saying is that ball had no opportunity to go in, and that's why it was not called goaltending. It would become up short.
A timeout there used by Kentucky. Billy, UMass wanted a goaltend call here.
Well, the ball is on the downward flights, Jim, but see, it had no chance to go into the basket in the opinion of the official. That's why it's not goaltending. And look at Tony Delk. The reason he's not on the floor right now, tremendous leg cramps. You know that Rick Pitino would like to have him out there.
Kentucky down to 1 timeout. UMass, by the way, has all 3 at the 11:33 mark. When they tried to call a 20 and didn't have it, they called it a TV timeout. Walker to the line for 2, and that's a good one by Bright.
How about intentional? No chance. They said he was going for the basketball. Here we'll see what happened. Massachusetts tried to go into their 2-2-1 full court pressure. That let Walker wide open. And a good hit ahead.
And Bright has 4. That's his 4th. Antoine Walker to shoot 2.
Travieso and Bright now with 4. 2 key players in trouble.
Delk still getting treatment.
It's like an ice bag, right, Jim?
Yep. A cramp. And Walker.
Well, we start getting into those 2-possession games now. 6-point lead. It's still a lot of time. They get it inside to Camby some. There comes the double team. He recognizes, but he can't get rid of it.
And Pope ahead. Kentucky, Sheppard for the slam.
Marcus Camby could not get rid of the ball against that great double teaming defense by Kentucky. How effective.
.68-60, and this time Pope called for the foul. Pope was down on that double team. That was a key one, Billy, on that last possession. 4 on Pope.
Well, Jim, if you watch Kentucky practice every day, they work on double teaming, and they not only go in there, they don't go in to chop with their hands. They go in to really body up on people, and they're so quick anticipating the low post moves.
This the 1-and-1.
Big bounce.
Big roll there.
Oh, we have a problem here between Bright and Walker. Official does a nice job separating them.
2:47 on the clock. For a minute, Calipari was going to bring in Goodell Padilla. Now he sends him in to the scorer's table. He'll come in on the next whistle. Stolen by Travieso. Bright. Call for the push-off, and that's it for him. That's number 5. A huge call as UMass had a chance inside to get it back to 5.
Jim, Bright was just stronger that time than Sheppard, and that's what created the foul. Big miss by Travieso, and Bright probably would have had an easy putback if he didn't get called for the foul. See the miss? And there he's being pushed, and of course he's just so strong in the upper body, he knocks Sheppard to the floor. You could see how disappointed the young man from Baltimore is.
Yeah, he's a senior. He wants one more game.
Doesn't look like we'll see Tony Delk again, huh?
Yeah, he's wanting to stand up here on it for a minute, I think. 68-61. Syracuse against the winner of this one. Will it be Jim Boeheim against one of his former assistants, Rick Pitino?
legendary story about Pitino on his way to, on his honeymoon, gets called by Boeheim and decides basketball is at that moment more important.
Jimmy reading some clips.
There he is, all reading the newspaper, just relaxing. I'm unconcerned.
Maybe picking out a good Broadway show to go to tomorrow. What a job he's done. Sheppard. And a little break in the action there. And so we see Joanne Pitino. UMass using all of its allotted time to replace the fouled out player. That wasn't a timeout we just witnessed. Sheppard 1 of 2. Tipped out by Anderson smartly. And Kentucky keeps it. Walker, Dingle got it. 69-61, 2:35 on the clock.
There you see Bright realizing that he could have had a putback if he wasn't quite so strong.
Antoine Walker to shoot 2. He started every game this season for Kentucky except the UMass game.
That's right, Jim. Such a great all-around player, recruited out of Chicago. Matter of fact, he's going to have an opportunity to play against an old teammate potentially. I don't know if Donovan will get in the game, but possible.
Donovan McNabb, the Syracuse two-sport star, the quarterback of the Orangemen, a sub on the basketball team. They went to high school together, McNabb and Walker. Timeout called by UMass. Trouble inbounding. Back to a 10-point bulge. Refuse to lose, we've been saying all season. They'll have to try to mount another charge here late. Nance Billy Packer back here courtside. UMass with 2 timeouts to go. 63-60 at one point, Billy, and UMass had the ball. Travieso missed a 3, but they're down 10 now.
The Jim 2 threes, the one that Camby took for the breakaway from McCarty, plus that shot that Travieso took. At that point in the game, they were not good shots. Now they've got to be thinking a little bit about 3, however.
It's an 8-1 stretch for the Wildcats. Camby leaning in. Good move there. Gives him 21 for the game.
Great steal.
Padilla stole it away, and Travieso was there to pick it up. His brother's underneath for 2. Edgar to Goodell. Timeout UMass. They cut it to 6.
Great strong hands by Padilla.
4 points in a hurry. Don't count them out yet.
The quarterback pulls up.
Sometimes UMass just can't get a timeout.
Well, Jim, here you see Marcus Camby trying to call a timeout. Padilla was trying to call a timeout. The referees ignored it, and then boom, here's the steal. Massachusetts gets another basket. Travieso, remember, has 4 fouls. He can't be reaching in.
Epps doubled up.
They have to use the time as well.
So, a timeout called by Kentucky. We'll be right back. And Billy, UMass has won. Rather odd how they got to save one here in this half.
It really was, Jim. They were looking for a 20-second timeout. They called it, and they did not get the 20 because they didn't have one left. Fortunately for them, the clock operator said that there was an official timeout, so they were not charged for the timeout that they actually called. Big break for Massachusetts potentially.
The official said they had to stop play because the net needed fixing. So that was right after a Kentucky slam. So UMass has one remaining. This man out of timeouts, but with a 6-point lead.
And Tony Delk has not been able to return, Jim. Tough break for Kentucky, losing their very experienced, outstanding player at this point in the game.
Goodell Padilla reached in, and had there been a UMass player on that wing, could have been raced to the other end. 1:49 to go, 20 on the shot clock.
Here
now, Delk coming in.
Rick Pitino has seen enough. He wants him back in. Let's see if he can go, though. I mean, they were really rubbing him down over there. Bad pass.
Wow, right into the arms of UMass. Camby drives outside. No basket.
Walker. And the one thing Rick Pitino does not want is for a foul on Camby that far away from the basket. It stops the clock, puts Camby on the line. Not what he wants.
It's double bonus the rest of the way at both ends, so it's a two-shot situation for Camby. 2 shots. Bring it within 4.
And Jim, when you think about a team that plays pretty well in overtime,
you
think about UMass.
11
straight overtime wins. So John Calipari is probably wishing, just get me to a tie at the end of this thing.
Both 71-67. This Kentucky team that came to the Final Four by a margin of 28 points a game. Turns it over. Anderson dribbled it out of bounds.
They've got really Epps and Delk in the ball game, but Anderson the one handling it. They'd like to have the ball in Epps' hands, and he hasn't been able to come back and get it. Give Padilla credit.
The 2 Padilla brothers on the floor. How about Delk Padilla being here with 1:30 to go? He's had some night here at the Meadowlands.
Nice patience here.
Camby, Pope on his back. Camby shot. Delk Padilla gets it back. He's rejected. Anderson comes out of the pack. And a bump called on Edgar Padilla.
Well, that was a nice play by Anderson. Had to put the ball out in front of him. We've got both Padilla brothers giving it all out here, don't we? Tremendous effort on their part. There's their dad. Absolutely incredible effort off the bench. Remember, Bright has fouled out, so they've got nowhere to go there. Clark gave them some very valuable minutes on that first comeback they made against Kentucky.
Again, double bonus, 2 for Anderson. 4 on Edgar Padilla.
Jim, it would put it back to one of those 6-point margins.
And it is 109 remaining.
Nice pass. Split the press.
Edgar cuts the lead in half.
Got a heart of a lion, that kid.
He jumped up in the air. He wanted a timeout. No one saw it.
Camby
coming in. Camby got Pope on the way up. 4 on Camby.
Look at Padilla. Recognized what was behind him, pulled up, took that jump shot. You're talking about a winner there.
On the charge, number 21, Marcus Camby, his 4th personal foul.
Camby did the right thing, put Pope back on that foul line. That would have been tough to block because Pope would have had a lot of momentum, would have been able to dunk on the play.
So Camby with 4, Edgar Padilla with 4. Travieso with 4.
And Bright out with 5.
52.4 seconds remaining. Kentucky hitting its free throw.
Yeah, pretty nice foul shooting by Kentucky. They look confident on that line. Don't want to foul here.
Edgar launches another one. This one rattles out.
Good block out by Pope on Camby that time.
Long pass. Only Walker's down there. Kentucky up 7. Kentucky ball.
Now, Jim, the real problem, John Calipari probably ought to put in somebody to commit the foul here because he's got his key players in foul trouble. Bring a guy like Clark in just to commit a foul. They're not ready.
Delk inbounds and scores. They inbound it to Delk for 2 more, and it's suddenly a 9-point game. Inside Camby for the slam, and there's the final timeout. Boy, they seem to hand the ball over for that inbound really quickly. UMass wasn't ready, and they had Delk alone for the easy basket.
The Nanny CBS Monday.
Billy, we've seen a lot of heart out here today. I know I don't want to sound cliche here, but refuse to lose has been the motto all season long for UMass.
Trademark of this basketball team, Jim, and a tremendous job by John Calipari and their squad. Of course, Atlantic 10 champs, both regular season and in the postseason tournament, worked their way here, and they played a marvelous basketball game. I really didn't think that if they got behind, they could make these comebacks. You knew that Kentucky would have the wherewithal to do that, not only emotionally, but with the bench. But Massachusetts has been phenomenal to be able to come back after some large deficits, one of which I thought was a knockout blow by Kentucky early in this half.
Yeah. John Calipari's wife, Ellen.
Now,
his little girl is asleep. They've got a third child on the way. But here we have 21 seconds.
I'm surprised John did not put a fouling team on the floor right now to commit an immediate foul, because he's got some key players out there. It may be all over anyway, but got a foul right away. And there's two guys with 4.
Yeah. And that's it for Edgar Padilla.
See, that was my point. You put 2 guys out there just to, like Weeks, put Weeks and Clark out there, commit the foul, and you don't lose a good player.
Edgar Padilla has fouled out with 12 assists, ties his career high. He almost made it the whole way through. 19 seconds remaining.
Well, you can see what his teammates think of that young man, and what John thinks of him as well. Tremendous competitor.
And Sheppard to shoot 2.
One of the long line of players, state players of the year that Kentucky has. Sheppard, who played a lot more minutes last year, but like all the rest of the members of this team, had to put aside individual for team goals.
Camby, player of the year in college basketball. So we didn't come here just to play one game, though. We're not happy just to be at the Final Four. But Billy, the two schools at the Final Four for the first time, Mississippi State and UMass, both eliminated today.
Hadn't had 2 first-timers since 1979.
Padilla on the layup. Just 13 seconds remain.
Object is here not to get fouled. Keep the ball moving.
Well, it's going to be a Kentucky-Syracuse final. Rick Pitino will be in a championship game for the first time. A hug for the 2 men who are like brothers. Kentucky withstands the furious rally. Clutch free throw shooting at the end by Kentucky. Had to play some critical minutes late without Tony Delk. Kentucky and Syracuse set for the championship game now Monday night. They played last year. They played February the 5th of '95 with Kentucky winning 77-71. They'll meet for the national championship Monday night. Kentucky, Syracuse. And right now, let's go to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Coming up next year on CBS, Nash Bridges, starring Don Johnson. Pardon my voice. Monday night, join us at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Prelude.